Olus Wyatta. Just leave that just for the moment. Right, so we'll see what this guy was doing in the previous memory, I think. Which is the one where this guy dies. So we may as well go into that one.
Lift this out and take it below.
What the hell is going on? What do you know about these things? About the chest and your dead friends?
这是什么？我回来，全部讲出来，拢是恁害啦！迄个害得较对人无过好。
He's saying it's your fault, yeah.
He talk about the shell. Very dangerous.
Shell?
Oh, he's not talking about the shell of the monsters. He's talking about the shell that came from the chest. Because there was a shell in the bottom drawer of the chest. So where's our mate that we're looking for? So we still think this is the surgeon, right? I think that's the surgeon's mate. That's bosun. Captain, yeah. That's the guy that we were looking for. He must just be, maybe he's just a seaman. Right. I think picking one person to try and find out is not helping that much. Well, that's only the first one we've tried to find. See? Unknown. That was the first one. We probably picked the nationality on this one, right? Because they're speaking in a foreign language to each other. So this guy is Solomon Syed. Who's from India. So there's a good chance the other two that we're talking to are also from India. And I guess this is where you could just, if you had two people you knew that you'd gotten them correct, you could just rotate through the other one, like pick who they were. What ones do we know most about? I don't know. There's a lot that we don't know a lot about, unfortunately. There's also the stewards from India. Okay. So we have these 4 people, these 4 fellas here, that are the ones that we all saw around there. So we can make the assumption that they're the 4 from India, and that the ship steward who's from India is somewhere else, because those 4 all have are all the same rank and are together there. We just don't know which ones are which. And I don't know what... I'm just sort of thinking, what's the best way to try and work out which one is which? Like, you'd be looking for some sort of text with a name. So we have Renfred Rajub, Abraham Akbar, and William Wasim. They've all got alliteration in the name. That might help us when we're looking for things. So if we go to here and find out the memories. So we know Solomon, which one Solomon is. He's dead. That guy's in 12 memories, and he's... Oh, we can also use the fact that... he's like a three hard puzzle. So we probably should be doing his last, whereas this guy's a 1. And that guy's a 2. Alright, so let's focus on this one then. We've been told this is the easier one to work out. So we see him in loose cargo. We'll try bitter cold, because that's the one where he's talking, and he might be in bitter cold. Stop your cheating. Worry about yourself. Say, get up, drink something. Okay. And then he's in this one. Well, same as the other fellow. Some long is not consumption made worse by the cold. Will it spread? If so, we'd have it all. They must have picked it up at the Lascar house. I'll check all hands. I checked all hands now, and everyone is healthy. I gave him some laudanum. We'll see. So he dies then, though. So that doesn't help us very much. So what are the other memories that... The memories we see him at the start is loose cargo. Alright, so not there. Let's do a low away. So if he's supposed to be an easy one, there must be a way of working out why. Hey Zanza, how you doing, buddy? What's the twist? That we have the Necro watch. Corpse was moved post-mortem. Alright, let's have... We're gonna have to go have a look at some of these to find out. So we'll go have a look at the bitter cold ones again. Or the loose cargo and then the bitter cold ones. But I don't know. Get out of the book. It's pretty good. It is, however, one of those games that if you do see hints from it, will affect how you play, I guess. Right, so this is the first one that he's in, somewhere. We know he's just working, but... So he must just be down here just doing his job. Yeah, I mean, that's him. But I don't think that's going to help us work out which one's which. A little bit Lovecraftian, yeah. And that was the fellow we went looking for earlier. So we've located that guy, but this does not help us identify who he is. Well, that's one of the other ones, but that doesn't help us work out who that is, and that's Syed. So we can find him also if we go to where's the other guy? He must be up this end. Where's the cargo? Unless it's in through this door. Oh, it is. So so this is almost the same, or is it exactly the same? It looks like it's exactly the same. It is exactly the same because they both died at the same time. Right. Okay, so that doesn't help us identify that guy at all. And I'm pretty sure the other two don't either. So there must be another clue somewhere else. How do we get... Oh, it's out through the door. Oh, I didn't notice that. I have noticed that with other things where you hear them slightly differently, but I didn't notice that one. I wasn't paying attention to the they're downstairs. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the dialogue in that scene. Okay, so he was seen in this one. The Kraken, yeah.
سيد سيد उठो कुछ पी लो
I don't think that helps us at all. So that's not the one we're looking for? That's not the one we're looking for. Where's our boy? Yeah. So we're missing the guy that we're looking for. We can't find. Oh wait, is he there? He's there. Right. So these are the 4 bunks of those 4 units, except someone's. No one's in that one. Okay. So this one is Syed. It's this bunk. So unless there's a way, does it show us on the book who's who? We're in we're sort of over here, but that's not really helping us. The purser's office, though, is somewhere we need to look at some stage to find out who the purser is. So there needs to be a way... Oh, he's number 51. 54. Okay. There's a clue. At number 51... is Renfred Rajub. Syed is 54. Right. I'm pretty sure it's safe to assume that this guy's sitting in his own bed, marked X, as if to sort of say, no, we're not going to give you that one. Thank you, Lucas Pope. But that's 53. Right. So I'm going to say that this guy's number 53. He's gotten out of his bed. Now, we're going to make an assumption here, but I think it's a fair assumption. Like, they're talking about who's cheating or whatnot. They could be playing a game, in which case that guy's sat in his bed. But it's unlike... Like, that's something you'd do if beds are, like, standard beds on the floor. You go, if you're playing a card game, sitting on someone's bed, you know? Kind of like you see it in, like, prison shows when they walk into someone else's cell and sits on the bed next to them. But these are hanging, which is a bit of a pain in the butt, so you're probably not going to do that. And it looks like everyone else is trying to sleep. The men at the table are playing a game? Oh, they're the ones talking about cheating? Right, okay. So, hang on. So 53 is William Wasson. Right, I hadn't... Yeah. Hang on, I'll explain it after Let's go William Wasson. At number 53. Which means you, even though that says X, we're gonna label you at, like, what's that, 52. Thanks, Edward. With that whole bit at the beginning about cheating and whatnot, because the scene was centered more around the death, I was making an assumption that the two Indian fellas, the one that's standing near the dead body and the one that's seated in his hammock, they were the ones playing a game. The thought didn't occur to me that that dialogue has come from the guys that are clearly playing a game at the table. And because I'm reading the English underneath the characters that I don't recognize, I didn't notice that the characters come from two different languages. Which I'm sure if we go have a look at, will be blatantly obvious. To see that these characters here are very similar, and these characters here look nothing like these ones. But because I don't speak, I speak very little of other languages, and I only read English characters. So when I see the English beneath these, my brain immediately goes another language, English, another language, English, another language, and English. And because they weren't on the same page together, I didn't differentiate between the two. Whereas I have a feeling that European, especially someone who is Eastern European, would be able to identify that that's a different language to this one, even if they were on different pages. Like, I don't want to jump and say Cyrillic, but that's how ignorant I am. The only other language I know that I can call by its name, and I know that Kanji's one, and Cyrillic, and I don't know the names of any of the other characters. Very uneducated in foreign language am I. We got those ones. I'm happy with those. Alright, where else do we want to go then? Those characters did have general appearances, which I could see once I looked at them carefully in like next to each other. But when you go into the scene, the top line is shown, and then that line is shown, and then this line is shown. So there's not that direct comparison, which I think is a very clever way of doing it. Because if it was like that, you might be able to tell the difference there at a glance. Well, you can here when you look at it. But like I was saying, when I came in here before to look at it, I just looked at the English bits because I can't read these ones. Hey, Sparkle Crotch Dotty. How you doing, man? Alright, so we've got those guys. So what do? We go look at the other tags. Who are they? Who are they? By process of elimination, we could actually work these ones out. Right? Because we know someone's in there. And these ones are empty. So do these three... Or actually, do those three belong to these three? In which case then, who's this one? Is that someone sleeping in there? Yeah, with a foot down. That one's vacant. That one's also vacant though. Well, it's probably theirs though, because like that, I think that's probably too much of a rough assumption. You could say that these three belong to those three bunks, but those three bunks could probably just be empty. Unlikely though, because the people from the same nationality, like as you can see, are grouped together, and I think that is for that they're probably a little bit closer. They can speak in their native tongue to each other. They possibly even knew each other before they signed onto the ship, like they signed on together, so why not bunk together? And if we have a look at, what do we got there, 47? We have Alexei Toporov, Alarkus Nikishin, and Leonid Volkov from Russia. And they're all playing cards together. I think this guy over here is just looking at... Oh, who is he looking at? Maybe this guy. I don't know. One of the ones that I'm glad we did that one though. I think I want to get out of this scene though. Find a different scene. It's a very good point. He is one of the topmans in the Russians. Okay. I think we can solve that one. That's a good pickup there, Pretzel. Man, I almost want to go back down there then. Hang on. Alright, let's do it. Hang on. Yeah, so you can definitely... It shows you where the language barrier is. I think that's done specifically like that. Oh, I think what's happening is he's not dead right now at the start of the scene. He's struggling for breath at the start of the scene because he has a lung disease. And that's why the guy's still talking to him. This is just before he dies, like in his dying moment. And he's wheezing, he's... And even though it's noisy and it's a ship, I think he's making enough noise. That's why this guy's looking over. He's on the firing squad. And he's there as well. With the big beard. So, who we got? That guy. I'm going to try it with a shooter. And big beard. Right, so if we go to the scene where he's struck by lightning, that's probably the best one where we get to look at the ropes. I think I have to consult the book to find which one that is. That is from... I think it's The Calling, is it? No, it's the Unholy Captives. No, I'm wrong again. Soldiers of the Sea. It's one of the first ones. I don't think it's the Doom, is it? It's that one. Unknown Soul was electrocuted. He's there, okay. That's the guy on the capstan, yeah.